French President Emmanuel Macron responded after Russian President Vladimir Putin raised the scenario that Moscow could use nuclear weapons. First of all, we feel protected because we are a nuclear power. We are ready, we have a doctrine on the use of nuclear weapons, President Macron declared. Announced in an interview with TV channels TF1 and France 2 on March 15. Mr. Macron noted that making threats as stated by President Putin is inappropriate when Russia is a country with nuclear weapons. According to Mr. Macron, there is no need to brag when it comes to nuclear weapons, because we have a responsibility never to escalate in this issue. Previously, in an interview published on March 13, President Putin said Russia was still in a state of combat readiness and completely ready for a nuclear war. However, Mr. Putin assessed that current tensions have not led to the above scenario. Mr. Putin affirmed that Russia will be ready to use nuclear weapons if its sovereignty is threatened. Responding to a question from Russia 1 channel and RIA news agency about whether Russia is really ready for a nuclear war, Mr. Putin said, "From a military technical point of view, of course we are ready. He said the US understands that if they deploy troops on Russian territory, or to Ukraine, Russia will consider this action an act of interference. He reiterated that the use of nuclear weapons is clearly stated in the Kremlin's doctrine, which clearly states the circumstances under which Russia could use atomic weapons. In addition, Mr. Putin said Russia has never faced the need to use nuclear weapons in Ukraine, where the conflict between the two countries has broken out since February 2022. White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters that Washington understood President Putin's above statement as a reckless and irresponsible threat to use nuclear weapons. In response, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said President Putin's statement was deliberately taken out of context. President Putin did not threaten to use nuclear weapons. The president only talked about possible reasons why the use of nuclear weapons is inevitable, Mr. Peskov emphasized. In an interview with France 2 TV channel, President Macron also said that Ukraine's defeat in the conflict will not bring peace, while Paris is ready to take the necessary steps to prevent Russia's victory. A country that France considers a rival. The Kremlin spokesman warned that France was increasingly drawn into the conflict in Ukraine. We have heard Mr. Macron's statements. The fact that Russia is an opponent of France, as Mr. Macron declared, is really obvious to France, because France has been drawn into the war in Ukraine, Mr. Peskov added. In fact, France is indirectly involved in this war, and judging by the French president's statement, the country is not opposed to participating more deeply in the conflict, Mr. Peskov said. President Macron on February 26 declared that sending Western troops to Ukraine is an option that cannot be excluded. This statement by Mr. Macron also faced criticism from Russia.